While your partner is talking, just listen. Now, listen, we all have challenges, right? So my challenge, folks, my challenge with communication.
Hold on. Before you tell it, let me just put my pinky up real quick. See if I can. Okay, there.
Yeah.
This is tea. Even though this is coffee, this is tea. What you're about to spill.
I'm spilling tea. Is that what I'm doing? So my issue with communication is interruptions. Yeah,
okay. Free yourself. May the truth set you free.
I interrupt. That's what I do.
He does.
That's what I do. Because I have so much on my mind and so much on my heart and so much I want to say that, oftentimes that's what kind of happens. And so it's almost like you use the word double dutch, like she's jumping and I'm ready to get in. I'm
good at the two. I'm going for it. See, that's the other thing, right? I'm a better arguer, right? So I'm going for it. I'm hitting all the points and this and that and the third.
Wait.
I am.
Well, first of all, is that something to brag about?
Yeah, it is if I were a lawyer. Yeah, it is if I were a lawyer.
Not in a relationship.
And it is as a coach. And it is as a coach. You know why? Because I have to convince you of how wonderful you are. But I'm a better arguer, right? I'm coming with the points. I'm hitting it. I'm quick, right? So that will trigger the desire to interrupt because I'm going so fast. And if Hassani doesn't feel like he's going to get a point and he's going to miss it. These are the rules of engagement. So if I was slower, if I was listening and had my heart open for these arguments, Hassani wouldn't have to interrupt, but he does have the interruption problem.
And so you want to learn how to listen, right? And there's different ways to listen. Listening can show up like this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's active listening. It's just like I'm giving you eye contact and I'm giving you a visual acknowledgement that I'm hearing what you're saying by, it's a nonverbal.
Yes.
It's a nonverbal.
Yes.
And so oftentimes it's important that you do that. Also, another way to let the person know that you're listening is to communicate back to them.
Well, that's the next point. That's the next point. Because what I wanted to say is that when it comes to that listening and that body language part that Hassani's talking about, making sure that your body language is non-aggressive is also important because to Hassani's point, you could be sitting there listening like, and you can have your eyes wide open and be attentive and, managing your heart rate and really being consciously present and letting the person know, heart, body, soul, and mind, that you are trying to hear them. That all that energy translates. All that energy is felt and understood. But at the same time, if you're listening with a spirit of aggression, that translates as well. Like,
yeah.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's a whole different energy. So now you're projecting that to your partner. So it's important to think about that as well. And then the next one does talk about reflect back what your partner is saying. So in that calm listening with an open heart, you would say, let me just make sure I understood what you said. Okay, so what you're saying is that the issue is X, Y, and Z in the third. And when I did that, you felt like X, Y, Z in the third. Is that correct? See how open-hearted that is? But it still matters how you do it.
It does.
Because if I'm doing it with attitude, if I'm being cynical about it, if I got face and facial expressions going on and energy going on and heat and it's all built up in my chest, you're not going to receive it in the same way if
Absolutely.
I really am honestly trying to understand and hear and reflect back to you what I understood.
That's right. We got a lot of comments. So number one, Tori says, I'm with you, Hassani. So am I. I think she was talking about in terms of her being an interrupter. And then Kia says, can somebody make a say it again button? I need to push it because they're really resonating with what it is that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And this is the reality, guys. Like, this is the biggest challenge that people have in their relationships.
Yes.
Communication.
Right.
And what happens is we accumulate ideas and we pick up habits along the way that are not effective, that are not productive, and we carry them into our relationships. And it's just like, you know what? If we could learn how to check ourselves and begin to evaluate how we're showing up, it's less about what our partner's doing and more about what we're doing, and we need to be conscious of that because it is a two-way street. We just have a tendency to always look at what they're doing and how they're showing up, and we don't self-assess ourselves. And so it takes two to make a relationship work. It takes two to make a thing go right. And if you show up the right way, you can have a positive influence on your partner in terms of how you particularly engage.